Om Namah Shivaya. Sheshnaag Yoga Center. Another video. What am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about the reason, the biggest question on this planet that has remained unanswered or unchallenged, and nobody's really stepped up from a non-dogmatic or non-religious point of view. I step up from a purely anatomical perspective because prior to my realization of the Great Being, I did not have any belief structure in place that I could validate the experience with. So then I researched it anatomically and also through confirmation with this weird goosebumpy sort of experience that I get as a confirmation. So basically my own research through the anatomy and my own confirmation through some bizarre cold chill sensation has been the two things that have led me to the answers where I have come to conclusions that the reason we are here is to experience self-realization. It could be termed self-awareness, and it has been documented by many people that humans are an experience and an experiment in consciousness, in self-awareness, to see how consciously aware they can become of the dimensions of being. Anatomically and scientifically, the best teachings to explain the experience of becoming self-aware is yoga. Actually, yoga is a Sanskrit term that comes from the Sanskrit root yug, which means unification or together. So somehow you become aware of that great being that is everywhere all at once. That is the answer why we are here. And in different philosophies throughout this planet, there are similar experiences where in Christianity people are baptized by the Holy Spirit. Zoroastrianism, the crucible of fire. Buddhism, shunyata, the presence of Mother Mary in a matriarchal society is symbolic of the representation of the space in the bathtub, the pure being, the substratum of existence that allows experiences to happen without changing and purely without influencing them. There is one mechanism within the human body that is responsible for this experience. It is detailed throughout this planet, hidden in the medical fraternity as a sign of therapy, which was taken by Alexander the Great from India, as well as a guy called Theravadam, and renamed Therapeus and made the Greek head of health. So the mechanism, resembling the medical symbol, the 7 chakras up the spine, the nadis representing the Ida and Pingala, feminine and masculine energies functioning within the body on an anatomical level, representing the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. And basically the 2 snakes represent the 2 opposing yet complementary energies throughout the whole of existence. So I propose that the medical symbol can be related to the Garden of Eden too. But in the Garden of Eden, the 2 opposing yet complementary energies of the masculine and feminine, Adam and Eve, are not aligned with being open to the full extent or the top of the medical symbol. So the energies withdraw, and with the help of the serpent, which is the staff in the middle, the energy comes down the medical symbol or the tree of life from a unified perspective, which is the goal of human life, which is where we were when we started on the planet, irrespective of bogus linear interpretations of evolution. Thanks to Darwin, there was a time on this planet that people were unified with the great being. The energy came down the middle of the staff at the same time. The energies on the side of the medical symbol did not activate, awaken and balance the chakras to the subtle dimensions of being, and then came down to the lower dimensions below what is known as Brahma Granthi, which is around the diaphragm on an anatomical level and maintains the Kundalini energy within the lower three chakras and the more physical dimensions of being. So there was a time when we were unified. There was a time when we fell from our connection and continual knowing of the great being. And here we are now, 2014, on the verge of self-extinction. But it's a good sign, because things are going to get worse before they get better. But as far as history goes, there has never been a time that we have been collectively more further away from our connection with the great being than at the present moment. It coincides with the end of the 100 years of century of the self, which is self-indulgence and self-gratification, especially since the 1980s, when people on an individual level have been hypnotized and bombarded like no other time in history to become so self-unaware, may be the term, or selfish, in the sense of a little limited interpretation of the self, where a person understands himself as an organic creature that has developed from a monkey that has grown to talk and is encased in a mortal frame. But I do not wish to rain on their parade. I will simply put it out there that the reason we are here is to wake up from the realization that we have been hypnotized by the animalistic interpretation of evolution, because if we haven't been hypnotized and linear evolution does occur, then we as humans in 2014 could replicate the Great Pyramids. Unfortunately, we're not that smart. So evolution cannot be linear. And there is a time that we will realize within the human framework there is an innate, dormant energy that can be awakened for the experience of self-realization, which is also termed spiritual illumination, enlightenment. Doesn't really matter what you call it. It's like you become aware of the ocean of energy around you, because that's ultimately where we're sitting, on a little rock, spinning thousands of kilometers per hour, in the middle of space, looking up at other rocks that have similar galaxies that are involved in the same process of evolution of consciousness. The human being is blessed, because as long as your life seems, in a galactic point of view, the human life is not much time. So within the human framework, there is a time frame that allows us to put into techniques relative to our anatomy, predispositions on an emotional and psychological level, and utilize those until there is the experience of submerging, merging, becoming unified with the great being, the invisible energy that is everywhere, the intelligence in the space between the wavelengths, the intelligence that is known as Mother Nature, God, the great being. Who knows? That's what I'm proposing. And I'll give anyone $50,000 if they can debunk me. I propose there's a mechanism within the human body known, according to the oldest known text on this planet, from the Sanskrit perspective, in the Sanatana Dharma culture, as Kundalini. That Kundalini is dormant in the root chakra, and there are techniques that can be employed to move the Kundalini energy from the base chakra through the 7 chakras, through the 3 grantees, to move the Kundalini energy from the perineum to the 4th ventricle in the brain, which is known as the abode of Shiva, Brahmarandra in Sanskrit. I'm proposing, in an Aussie way, I'll give you 50 G's if you can disprove that we're on this planet to experience spiritual illumination. Subsequently, following the experience of spiritual illumination, the person will be exempt from the cycle. And that's a wrap. Sheshnaag Yoga Center. I'll do a video on buy good karma. No worries. Peace. Om Namah Shivaya. Sheshnaag.com. Check it out. Thank you for your time.